Visionomicon.
Sights from beyond.
Howdy, this is Peter Hoflich. I've been asked about my music projects. So of course there's solo and then there's band. Band-wise, I guess Super Czar is defunct, no more Super Czar. Megalomania, on hiatus, but probably gonna be writing some new songs and definitely gonna be performing, at least in Singapore, maybe Thailand, maybe elsewhere. Solo, of course, I just put up my album, 1969. A tribute to the year I was born, but also partially a tribute to the Stooges, first song, first album. So the album just came out December, and I'm going to be doing a couple singles coming out. I guess those are alternate versions of the songs that are on the album, but something fun to look forward to. I'm in a bunch of little band projects as well with some friends. So we do the Motor Apes. That's a masked band that does sort of like Halloween style covers, scary songs about monsters and things like that. Then there's the Sinisters, which is an all lefty project. Everyone in the band is left-handed except maybe the drummer, but even he might be left-handed. So then what else is there? There's a country trio I'm in, the Copy Lassos. That's really good fun. That's my first opportunity to sing with a female vocalist as well in the band. So we're a little bit taking a break right now, but we might be performing sometime soon. I'm trying to put together a doom project. That would mainly be slowed down doom drone, and yeah, and then finally, I guess could be part of a country project coming up. So let's see where that goes, where that takes us into what strange and fun new adventurous zones. Yeah. Influences. Well, there's a lot to talk about there. Growing up in Canada, I guess in the 70s, 80s, we listened to a lot of Canadian radio. So I get exposed to all the Canadian bands and the big rock bands of the time. So those are all hugely influential on me. So, you know, maybe principally among influences would be Leonard Cohen for the songwriting and the poetry. Didn't get to hear him a lot on the radio, but definitely a big influence of mine. Then we got Max Webster, a band that's not really very well known outside of Canada, maybe the northern states, but I think this might be the band that had the strongest impact on my solo album, because you know they sort of mix musical creativity with rock and riffs and a bit of sort of wacky sense of humor, crazy stuff going on, Toronto Tontos and all that party. Then we got of course Triumph. Rick Emmett lived down the street from me, and must have been a good guy. I never got to meet him, but I listened to this band all the time growing up. Great rock sound, huge songs. Of course, Rush as well. Any Canadian growing up in that time always listened to it. Lots of Rush. Neil Young, great singer, great songwriter, fantastic. This is the guy I probably emulate the most when I get up and do my open mics. I sing a couple of his songs, but fantastic. Also very country influenced, and that's pretty important to me too. We'll get to that a bit later. Moving on to sort of international act, ABBA. People wouldn't think it, but man, that songwriting and those female voices, you know, that's really something to emulate. AC/DC, for sure. Lots of AC/DC. Bob Dylan, the man. Then we got here Iron Butterfly. That riff, holy smokes, man, you just can't walk away from that. Judas Priest, I listened to this album endlessly when I was a teenager in high school back then. We got here Journey. Again, like ABBA, man, the fantastic songwriting and that voice, holy smokes, man. Steve Perry, Kiss. Listen to this all the time. And you know, for stage presence, theatrics, musicality, show, that's it. And then this, of course, two of my bands being basically Sabbath tribute bands. I listened to a lot of Ozzy Osbourne, the first two solo albums when they came out. And then I went back and revisited Black Sabbath, and just blown away. It's been Sabbath pretty much non-stop ever since. And we got here Pink Floyd. Yeah, listen to a lot of Floyd. You know, that sort of spaciness, that atmosphere. Prince, Purple Rain, standout classic for me. We listen to that all the time. Just the way he writes, just so incredible. Rolling Stones. I sing a lot of Stones numbers, and you know, just that you know, Mick Jagger being one of the sort of consummate frontmen, you know, Rob Halford, Mick Jagger, a bunch of others. We got here the Scorpions, listen to these guys a lot. And, you know, just that sort of Germanic rock bestiality is sort of inspiring. Van Halen, again, one of the lead frontmen of all rock and roll, David Lee Roth. That's sort of who you want to emulate when you're on stage sometimes if you can do it. Yes, yes. Again, musical creativity, those long, beautiful instrumental passages. I put a few of those on the solo album, so that's where that comes from. Getting into country music, this is one of my all-time favorites, Emmylou Harris. And you know, with that country trio I was mentioning, this is what I want to do. I want to have my Emmylou. And you know, you got, you know, you can't talk about Emmylou without talking about Graham Parsons. So Graham Parsons, you know, fantastic songwriter, great team with Emmylou Harris. Just made some really beautiful music and you know, great covers as well that he put on some of his albums. Mekons started off as a punk band, but they kind of taught you that country music does fit in with punk, with rock, with all sorts of music, and it's just beautiful. Towns Van Zandt is the man. I've done all Towns sets in some of my open mics, and I don't know if people appreciate it or not, but Towns is really a great instrument. Now, getting to new ways of looking at music and songwriting. These guys are the slowest band around, pretty much. Nagase Nippei from Japan, hugely influential on me. The Pixies, fantastic songwriting, great noise, love that band a lot. Talking about musical textures and just taking music into great places. You know, nothing beats Talk Talk, especially that album. Now I mentioned frontman before, Henry Rollins of the Rollins Band, hugely influential to me. I went back and checked out the Black Flag as well. Not bad. Rollins Band is where it's at. And that guy, as a front man, he hasn't done it for the last 20 years because he just can't do it anymore and he doesn't want to do anything half-ass. This one, Boris. Drone, noise, doom. These guys just do it all and they do it all so well. And like those incredible feedback textures, it's just really inspiring. Cathedral, when you're talking about doom, this is sort of really, you know, the barometer for what a good band should sound like. Then we get, of course, Corrupted. I talk about slowing things down. These guys are slow and heavy. I love that so much. Similar, Electric Wizard, huge influence. As soon as I heard these guys for the first time, my ears just couldn't believe what they were hearing. Same thing with Earth. Drone. Just love it. You know, you can sink into those textures forever. Similarly, Godflesh. Slow, heavy. These guys pretty much defined it, you know. These guys, Corrupted, Earth, wow. Getting a little crazy, KMFDM. These guys really sort of taught me a lot about, you know, basically rap metal. That doesn't sound so great, does it? Industrial rap, there you go. That's a better term for it. You know, KMFDM doing it again. Here we go, Love and Rockets. Probably should show this side. This is one of the bands. I mean, just created a whole atmosphere of their own and just really sort of beautiful songwriting, great sounds. Now, Malhavik is a band from Toronto, Canada. Maybe not a lot of people know about it, but these guys pretty much are Canadian industrial metal to me. And we're going to talk a little bit about gear. So this is my main vocal effect as, you know, I'm a vocalist, right? So I got one of these, and this has got some really cool sounds in it. The Boss VE5. Like it a lot. I've been using it for many years. This goes back to the Superstar days. My main guitar for performing is this Seagull S6. This is my buddy Patrick makes these, and it's a real nice guitar. It's left-handed, of course. My favorite electric guitar is this Gibson SG that I got a couple years ago in Canada. Left-handed, like Tony Iommi, of course. So I don't perform with this, and I don't play with it a lot, but it makes an appearance on on my solo album in that extended distortion piece, the Cauchemar, that ties the second last song together with the third last song with the last song. This is my first guitar that I ever had. It's a Stratocaster. I don't really play it a lot, but it's a lot of good fun to pull out and plug into the pedal board and make some noise with. I don't really have a man cave at home, so sometimes I rent some studio space and for 2 hours to just crank it with my guitars and my pedals. This is what's going on with the pedal board from hell here. Here's my old Distortion Factory. This is my first pedal. It's still probably my favorite distortion pedal. This GT500 is good to play around with, but I don't know. I haven't really figured out how to make best use of it. This is my favorite new toy. It's a Janus from Walrus Audio. And the awesome thing about this, it's got a tremolo with a joystick, and it's got a fuzz with a joystick. I love playing around with this. And then over here you got your octaver. So this actually goes up 1 octave, down 1 octave, and also down 2 octaves. So it's got a pretty monster sort of octaver bass thing happening there if you want it. It's great to play around with, a great little effect. Okay, here we are. We come down to it. Last words, last rites. I don't know. Just I don't know. Keep having fun. Keep making music. Keep being creative. Keep looking for inspiration, and we'll get through this circuit breaker thing in one piece. In fact, maybe I'll just play a little song I wrote during the circuit breaker itself. It's called "This Is the Sound." It's a bit of a country song. It'll probably be up on my my SoundCloud by the time you see this. I'm on SoundCloud under Peter Hoflich, and I'm on Bandcamp if you want the solo album. Get a little pick out of my Motorhead pick case. If you want the solo album, it's on Bandcamp under Hoflich, Hoflich, and then the videos are all on YouTube too. So here you go. Get your country through rhythm. This is the sound of my left hand strumming. This is the sound of my right hand picking. This is the sound my guitar makes when I play it alone. This is the sound of my guitar. This is the sound of my guitar. Yeah, all right. Take care, stay strong, and
Visionomicon.